Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Belgian Business Club. I think it's still time to wish you all a successful and safe year. Last year, we were happy to bring you some webinars and conversation with Belgian entrepreneurs, and we sincerely hope we can launch again in-person events as soon as the situation will allow it in Los Angeles. 2022 will be a big year for our organization. Over the last months, we worked hard to give the Belgian entrepreneurs a new way to connect, to do business in the area, and to offer a nice alternative to grow your startup or your company. Stay tuned. We can't wait to tell you more very soon. Thank you for your support, your patience, and the continued interest into our activities. Today, we will continue the series of sessions with successful Belgian entrepreneurs in the US and Belgian companies operating in the US. This will allow you to bring you some insights if you want to launch your own company here on the West Coast and benefits from real experience from real entrepreneurs. And for this first conversation of the year, I'm delighted to welcome Christine Brendle, CEO of Jooqi. The Belgian company is in a great phase of growth and just won an innovation award at the latest CES in Las Vegas that just took place 2 weeks ago. Jooqi is the world's first screen-free Wi-Fi and Bluetooth-enabled speaker with streaming music and audio design just for kids aged 3 and up. The company was founded in 2014 by 3 geek dads, formerly working for major electronic companies. Christine took the reins of the company a bit more than 1 year ago, and our mission is to develop new markets and partnerships with Jooqi too, in particular within the US market. Christine has 3 global experience and I'm very impressed in career. Prior to Jooqi, Christine was managing director of Dow Jones in Asia and publisher of the Wall Street Journal Asia, where she led the development of all Dow Jones brands across the Asia-Pacific region. Prior to that, Christine spent 17 years at Hachette in a range of senior management positions across Asia, the US, and Europe. She then spent several years as consultant to the media industry and as a publishing entrepreneur, co-launching 2 daily English newspapers for children. Please ask your question to Christine in the Q&A or chat box, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. But what is Jooqi? And to show you, I will launch a small video so you understand more what is Jooqi.
With Jooqi, kids are in charge. They just place a figurine on Jooqi for music or stories to start. No screen in sight. With Jooqi, parents have control. With a few clicks on the Jooqi app, they decide what audio content to associate with a figurine. Relax. Your kids are entertained and inspired by endless music and stories. Get Jooqi now. Jooqi, the music and story player for a screen-free childhood.
I hope the video went through. Christine, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jibe. So, look, I'm not sure if you saw the video, but so this is a Jooqi. It's a lovely little speaker for children. And the very simple operating mode is that if a child places a figurine on Jooqi and place it on Jooqi, the music will start. And if the child lifts the figurine, the music will pause. So this type of toys have been growing very fast as a category in the past few years. What sets us apart, and we're going to be discussing this, is that we are connected to streaming platform. So let me share my screen and we'll start a little break so that I'll tell you our story. So at Jooqi, we believe, do you see my screen? Yes, you should see my screen now. Yeah. So at Jooqi, we believe firmly that parents are growing more concerned about the consequences of increased screen time for their young children. There are a number of pediatricians which are alerting and connecting dots between some differences in the development, in the behavior, in the physical activity, in the sleeping patterns of young children, and increased screen time for the children and their caretakers. Now, what we believe is very powerful is parents wanting to share stories and music and songs every parent is happy to do this with their children because it's increased connection between the two generations. And there is really no smart modern player for children, in particular connecting with streaming, which is really the new modern way of consuming audio content. As you know, that streaming industry, the audio streaming industry, is on fire. It has grown consistently double digits for the past 10 years. It's expected to reach over 26 billion in 2022. And the pace of growth, it continues to be very, very significant. So going back a little bit in the history, the first thing I'm saying to investors or entrepreneurs is that it takes time. The company of Jooqi was created in 2015. The first product was launched in 2018, and it really executed on this vision. We want to be at the intersections of toys and speaker. We want the sound to really be great, not to sound like toy sound, which is often not absolutely great. And we want parents to keep a very firm control on the content that is listened by the child, but we want the child to be absolutely able to operate the speaker independently. So very shortly after the launch, we were able to have deals with Deezer and Spotify. And so this was important because these were obviously the two biggest audio streaming platforms. And in some way it was validating the need for a product for children. And to date, we still are the only one that is a speaker conceived for children that is really embracing streaming. So this was successful. We sold 15,000 units. The majority of those units were sold in the USA. And we were a startup, we had very limited means. And so our route was direct to consumer. So on our website and as well as Amazon at the time. So the good news as well, and this was for us an important promise still today, is that Jooqi is not a toy that is discarded after a few weeks. We still have a third of our users connecting to Jooqi and turning Jooqi on every day. It's very clear that Jooqi becomes part of the routine of young children, whether it is to go for a nap or go to bed or have a dance in the afternoon. They are clearly very much embedded in the life of the children. So fast forward a few more years, we create a new Jooqi, and that's why I'm saying it takes time. Some of the shortcomings of the Jooqi ones are addressed. So the Jooqi is sturdier, it is lighter, it's a child can really run around. The little figurines stay very clearly fastened. And I think these improvements were recognized. We won the Innovation Award for Best Personal Audio, and that matters a lot. And then just a few weeks later, we won the Gold Award for Mom's Choice. And so that's also good for us and gave us a little bit of press. And that so the way we see where our position is really in the space before a child gets a phone. And so this is immensely portable, can go in a car, can go in a plane, can go, very easily in the bag, in the backpack of a child. And that is for us a way to make sure that the parents can postpone the time when they give a screen to a child, because the stories, the music, the songs, and the exchange that that child can have with another child can be done with Jooqi. But what we really want and what we recognize is at the moment missing is to create content, a layer of content in addition to the hardware. And we want it to be firmly in the streaming world, since we think this is really the modern way of consuming music. So what we have been working on is the creation of Jooqi Play. And so Jooqi Play would be, if you will, a platform where parents of young children in particular, parents which are, as we know, very busy, could easily find songs, musics, and audiobooks that would be appropriate for their children at a particular time. Because what the content that is associated to one of the little figurines can be changed very quickly in a few clicks with the app. So if my child is at this minute very much into lullabies and nursery rhymes, okay, I have that. If I am immediately, a few years later, she's crazy about princess, then I can easily, in my Jooqi Play app, find stories and songs and music and audiobooks which are going to be related to her favorite topic. A few months later, it can be dinosaur, and again. So what we think is missing at the minute is the curation, the editorialization of content. If you know what you want on Spotify, you will find it. But it is very difficult when you just want to browse and just want to explore what could be appropriate for your child. So what we are building is really an audio ecosystem for kids. The customers buy the hardware, but then they stay connected with us with a monthly subscription, which allow them to have very easily, very quickly playlists for their children. In a few clicks, they have reset what is going to be explored by their children in that given month, for instance. So when we look at the competition, we see that we are indeed quite unique. We have the grown-ups, which of course don't have the play pattern that Jooqi is providing. And then we have quite a few competitors which are very, very successful. And they are firmly in this play pattern, but with one restriction: the content is embedded, as it were, in the little figurines they sell, or the little cards they sell, or the little download that you need to do as a parent. So you are purchasing every story, every music as if it was a CD. And we think this model is somewhat dépassé, and that we need to go into the streaming world. So what is our next step? Our next step is to build awareness. I think we are a great product that no one has ever heard about. And so if you can help us spread the word, that would be absolutely great. We have started sales from October on our website. We are about to re-embark on Amazon and Walmart and some of the other marketplaces. What we really need is to spread the word, to have people do the advertising for us, saying my child has it, that's great, because we cannot afford to be in retail, and therefore no child will see it in a shop and say to their parents, I want that. So that's where we are really struggling to scale up, is just to build awareness. So very quick, you mentioned that we have 3 great geek dads who came up with this idea. The 2 most involved at the minute is Will, who is the head of software, and obviously Peter, who is the head of hardware. But as the hardware is kind of set now, Peter is not as involved, but Will and I are really firmly at the wheel and pushing the development of the sales on one hand, Jooqi Play content and software on the other hand. So in closing, really a timeline. So it takes time. You know, we are in 2022. It started in 2015. It does take time to come and to iterate on an idea. We raised 3.8 million euros of equity to date, and we are currently raising additional funds to be able to scale up in the US and to launch Jooqi Play, which we anticipate launching later this year. So that's me. and I would be very happy to answer any of your questions. I hope it was not too fast.
No, that's what I think. That was perfect. Thank you, Christine. I have received previously some questions from the audience today, mainly on the cultural differences, the business cultural differences between Europe and the US. So, what are the key steps to develop here your business in the US, and what are the real challenges you are facing, and the advantages compared to other countries? And another question is, did you need to adapt the Jooqi device due to cultural behavior difference in the toy world between Europe and the US?
So actually, we really conceived Jooqi from the start as a global offer. So Jooqi in the US is Jooqi anywhere. Now, because what we did last year is really assess the logistics and manufacturing constraints that we were facing, the shipping constraints we were facing. And so we decided that we were going to be focusing all our sales on the US, that we were not going to be selling in Europe, which was for a European company, not an easy decision to make. But with the resources that we had, and with the constraints in shipping in particular, it was very clear that this was in our best interest to build an inventory in one place, and that was in the US. And so we don't regret this decision. The US was always our biggest market. And so to build on that market makes sense. The other thing is that Jooqi Play is a subscription model on a streaming audio platform. The US is by far the most mature market when it comes to this type of offer. And in addition, it means one language capturing. Jooqi Play would be in English, and that would be one language capturing the biggest market. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us, and there was not so much adaptation of the product or whatnot. It is meant to be a global product.
It makes sense. And is it difficult to find some salespeople and business development executive here in the US to launch your product here, or do you do it by yourself from Europe? How do you?
So we launched absolutely from Europe
Okay.
on our own. We are and we are a very small team. We are three, the two founders and me. So it's very, very small. And we work crazy hours. But the thing is, we have some service providers who have been working with us for a long time, who know us very well, and who are like extensions of our team. So we can turn to these people and say, next month and for the three next months, I need 10 people of you to do this project. And then after that, I need none, and I need two. So we have been quite successful at scaling up and down based on what we are trying to do at any given time. But obviously, at the moment, we want to scale up in the US. So we have a PR firm helping us in the US. We have we are in the process of recruiting an agency to really help us scale up very specifically on the marketplaces. And so I think as we grow in the US, we will have more of a presence. But this has been such a difficult and crazy year, having decided to launch in the US, but not being able to travel there, for instance, for many months, was challenging.
Yeah, jumping to that, you went to the CES. I don't know if it was the first time for the Jooqi brand there.
No, it was not for the Jooqi,
okay.
not for me.
Okay.
But of course, it was the first time we won the award, so that was good.
So what was your experience during this unprecedented times there? Did you find any partnership there, investors? And the fact that we were less than, I think, 50,000 people visiting compared to the 250,000 in normal years. What was it? It was an advantage or a constraint for you?
So, I mean, I think not having the very large companies and their extraordinary presentations, is always a bit of a loss. But on the other hand, because it was much smaller and intimate, the quality of the conversations were really quite spectacular. So whoever needed and wanted to be there was there. And so we ended up having quite a few very, very interesting conversations, not so much with investors, but even with people in the same space, not necessarily for children, but in the hardware and what they see and how they scale up. So that was very interesting. Quite a few people in the e-commerce and service providers, and so that was good for us because it allowed us to check on our performance to date and how they were seeing that. And so that was always good to have an external pair of eyes looking at it. So, I mean, and huge coverage. We had a really good press coverage coming from CES. So that was also quite good. So yeah, an interesting, different year for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And and on a personal note, as mentioned before, you worked all over the globe, and especially in Asia. What did you decided to make the move and come to a Belgian company specifically? We are a small country, but we have a lot of talents. But why Belgium?
So, I mean, it was not a decision that I would be working for a Belgian company. It's just, a coincidence that it is a Belgian company. But what brought me back to Europe are the incredible changes that affected Hong Kong, where I spent 25 years of my life, and COVID. So that combination was, was a signal that was not expected, and that was not. I was not looking forward particularly to going back to Europe, but I had to. And so once I was in Europe, it was clear that I wanted to work, of course, and I wanted to work in the space of startup, which I think is one of the most dynamic area of business in Europe, and in the tech industry. And so I started conversation with a few companies, and of course, in some ways, everything I've done before prepared me for Jooqi. International expansion, selling subscription, kids product, kids content. So it was, a quick discussions because I really see how much this product can help parents, can help families, can help children, and that's what ultimately motivates me.
Yeah, definitely. And as a CEO, a woman in tech CEO, a woman executive for the past years in Asia and everywhere in the US. How do you see the woman in tech right now? I know that in the US, it's still the woman representing only 10% of the tech executive, and it's incredibly low. So what we can do to change that now and not tomorrow? And is it a wage problem, a recruitment problem, just a cultural problem? So what's your take on that?
So I'm not sure I have all the solutions, but hiring more women always help. It was true in the publishing industry a long time ago, and it's true now in the tech industry or in the finance industry. Same thing. You just need to hire more women and make the investment, and not be discouraged when women needs to make a break in their career. Just realize that this is just a hiccup while they're having children, and that the investment is well worth. Because it's a long life, and it's a long time commitment that you make to your employee. It's not just a small couple of years. So yeah, I think it starts with all of us hiring more women.
Okay, and do you see having quotas in companies is a good thing, or this is not necessary to go that way?
I think it depends. I am in favor of quotas on boards because I don't think otherwise it changes. But I don't think it's true across every spectrum in a company. No. I think it's, might be a little bit too much interfering, and I am very much in favor of having people making their choices. But I do think that as a rule, whenever someone hires, there has to be, a diversity of candidates, and there has to include women for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. And one last question, maybe you talk about your development in the US and only in English for the product. is there any chance, and in the coming years, you will do it in French, in Dutch, or in other language
Sure.
to address new markets?
Yeah, that's our goal, right? And so we need to establish a beachhead in the US. We started that. It's really only a few months since we started sales of Jooqi 2. So that has to be the priority and the focus of this year. But obviously, when we make deals for Jooqi Play with the majors, the discussions is very much on the US first, but then moving onto other markets together. So there will be an expansion more globally, Europe, and of course Asia at some stage, but one step at a time.
Sure. And starting with the US market is huge, so I think it will be very easy for you to go to other countries after that. Maybe Canada first and other countries. So, okay, I don't think we have any more questions from the audience. I just check that. So no. So thank you very much for sharing your adventure at Jooqi and as a woman in tech as well. And I hope we will be able to see you soon. And good luck for your path here in the US.
Thank you for having me. I'll definitely look forward to having more exchange with your community in Los Angeles. And so when I can travel there, for sure, I'll be very happy to visit you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.